So, to be
Welcome back.
continued. So yeah, after drawing that image, I would imagine just that little plane going around, and I would also imagine the feeling of taking off. You know, when you take off and you kind of stick to the seat on the plane, and it feels like the tail's going to drag, and it never does. So I would just imagine that feeling, and I would just literally look at that black drawing with the very white background. There's something about that black and white that was really striking. So I just imagined that over and over and over. And then that became, I don't know, I'm really not great at time frames when it's my own manifestations, when they've been a while. But somewhere between the time I imagined it and January 2016, and I had said, I'd made a statement, I now travel 4 times a year, fully paid. And January 2016, I took the first trip, and I remember thinking, oh, great, this is the first trip, fantastic. Let's see if I can manifest the other 3. And I still wasn't believing fully at that time. I was still coming in and out of believing and not believing. Anyway, took the second trip, the third trip, the fourth trip. And at the end, in December, because I'd done the 4 trips in the 1 year, I thought, wow, I did it, and this is how my life is going to be. And I think this trip that I've just done to London is my 13th trip since January 2016. So
wow,
it's about 4 trips a year. And yeah,
that's
4 trips
air miles, I guess. It's like, did you already get your free upgrade?
Not yet. But yeah, that's the triangle story. Yeah.
Yes, I love that story. So what about you, Kim and Armine? Do you like to vision board?
Yes, yes. I have one up in my bathroom. And I just look at it, and again, it just takes me to the feeling of whatever I want on there. But it never, and I said this in one of my videos, we talked about this last time, but like, it's never that I don't believe I'm going to manifest what I want. It's how it comes about that always blows my mind, and just how it unfolds. So I currently have some things unfolding now where, talking about selling my house, and I was on the phone with my special person, and he was like, oh, you need to sell it for this price, and I have my new home on my vision board, and I'm like, there's no way my house is going to sell for that, blah blah blah. And he's like, Kim, I know what I'm talking about. So literally the next morning, I walked out to this was like 9 o'clock at night. I walk out to my car to go to the gym, and my neighbors are demoing, and they're like, oh, we're listing our house, we're selling it. And I go, well, how much? And they said the same damn price that my person said to me on the phone. And I'm like, so now I'm getting my house ready to put it on the market. So it was just crazy. I'm like, who would have thought? Like, it just blows my mind every time.
Yeah, I love that. And it's like, again, it's like letting go of the how for me has been so powerful, because I noticed that as soon as I start to get into the nitty gritty of how is it going to happen? How do I push or beat this into existence? It's like, it doesn't work. No. It's like, lean back as we move forward. Like, okay, lean back, relax, chill. It's done. It's already happening.
Yes.
Yeah. So what about you, Armine?
For vision boards, I use them time to time. I'm not like a disciplined user of it. I don't always have one on the wall. I just change it. I think very abstractly, so I'll like have something up for a while. If not a board at a time, it'll be just something up that I have that like the purpose for me is just to look at it and feel good. So, and that's usually what does it. So for me, yeah, it's not necessarily always a board, and it's not as disciplined as the other ladies would have. But yeah, I more so than a vision board, I'm a little more consistent with a creation box. That's something you were talking about, right, Judith?
Yes. Tell me about your experience with a creation box.
It's a pretty box. and I have, like, whenever I have a thought of something that I want that I don't know how the heck it's gonna get here, I'll just put it in the box, and then I'll look at it like a year later, and I'll pick out the things that happen, and I'll acknowledge it, because as things happen in life, again, like, since I don't do the scripting in that way, like in a notebook, I don't always like keep track of like when things happen. I don't always remember that I planted that seed, because there are so many things, so it's nice to kind of look at it after a while, open the box and be like, Okay, that's done. And you'll know this too. You guys will know this even from looking at your stuff that worked out on the vision board that already manifested, that like when you look at those things, or when you hold those little strips of paper or photos that already manifested, it feels different than when you're holding the things that didn't manifest. And all that is a reflection of the energy that is the reason why that thing happened and that thing didn't.
Yeah.
So it's kind
Yeah,
of cool
I
to
love
be able
that.
to fine tune that.
Yeah, I really like that.
Judith,
So what
tell us
about
about yours.
oh my gosh, I really like the magical creation box. I don't have a pretty box. I actually recently started using a shoe box that I had when I bought shoes for my daughter. And I did it in the past. I really like it because it feels so playful to me. It really feels like playing around and, really quality time with myself. I think for me, this is loving myself. We're doing a creation box, doing a vision board, scripting. That really is me time. And with the creation box, I think one of my most fun experiences has been that I wanted to go on a vacation, and I wasn't really sure at the time how to do it, right? Because money, at the time I still had a lot of these beliefs around money that it was difficult, la-di-la-di-la. So I was like, well, I'm not sure how to get the money, but I can connect to the feeling, and I do know how to make a magical creation box. So, I got a little box and I put a bikini in there, and I remember buying a small bottle of sun lotion, because that smell, you got to tap. I love tapping into all of those senses, and that smell for me is like, boom, I'm on the beach. It's like I smell on the beach. Put a bikini in there. I put the sunblock in there. Little thank you notes, because I really like, whenever I stay in a hotel, I like writing thank you notes to the staff. So, when they come clean my room, I leave a little note. So I started writing a couple of thank you notes, and I put some dollars in there in my magical creation box, because I was going on a vacation. I needed some dollars, right? So I did like those sort of things I put in there. I don't know if there was anything else. This is a while ago. I think a postcard. And I just put it in there and I released it. And then, of course, this manifested because I was so playful about it. And I really enjoyed the journey. I really enjoyed the playing. And I think it makes me feel like a little kid, and I love it. It's like a little kid with her toys, right? So that's my experience. And actually, I'm in the process of making another one. I am not telling you what's in there yet, because I'm still like in the beginning phase of this manifestation.
Good for you.
So what about you, Agnes? Do you ever play around with a magical manifestation box? Have you ever done that process?
I have years ago, but not something that I've used for a long time. So I'm not really. No, I try and keep my techniques down to sort of my top 3, and then I don't.
And they work. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, for me, it's not something I do all the time, but every once in a while, it feels fun and it feels playful. And I think about that, that inspired action, as opposed to like, I have to sit down a script and write this into existence, or I have to vision board. I think that's exactly when we cut off all that magical energy.
Yeah.
So, and yes, about inspired action and just taking action. Do you see a lot of people struggle with that? Because I feel that that's quite present for people that I work with. I talked about this with Kim, that we're all so driven, we all want to, we're go-getters and we want to get things done. Yeah. We want to slay the day and all that good stuff. But in the end, it's like, we're not really being intuitive and listening really.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think there is an overemphasis on being an action figure and a very under emphasis on surrender, letting go, and allowing, and having faith. Mm-hmm. I think the real good stuff comes from developing those things: letting go, surrender, allowing. Mm-hmm. And I think it's about learning to be satisfied, because I think the dissatisfaction is what drives the action figure syndrome. Mm. And I do think that is very much, it's a muscle that's very much overused. And I think because we're not comfortable with waiting for the how and the when, because the packaging is the universe's department. Packaging and timing is not our department. So it's very much, I find probably the last 10 years of my life has been really letting go more of the techniques and really developing being satisfied and being calm, because I see just in life in general, and I was watching someone, I won't mention who they are because they're quite a prominent figure in the law of attraction circles and they have quite a big business, but one of their YouTubes came up and I thought, wow, that person is so revved up. They can't even keep up. They were talking so fast. There was no peace about this person at all. And I remember thinking, I really watch the feeling, the presence of somebody, not what they're talking about. What they're talking about, yes, but it's more than just that. It's the presence of them.
Yeah.
And I thought, this person is a huge action figure and a huge doer, and that's fine. But I remember thinking that state is a state I want to move away from. I want to be more at peace. I want to be more calm. I want to be a better listener. I actually these days don't have a big need to be heard like I used to in my 20s and 30s and even in my 40s. You know, this thing of listen to me, listen to me, listen to me. I don't really need to be listened to these days. I find I spend more time practicing quiet meditation, withdrawing myself from social media. I'm not a big social media user. I want to do one social media platform, which is YouTube, and do it well. I don't really use the others much at all, if any. And I like that time where I have a simple mind that's focused on very few things and deactivating the busy and improving the calm and the peace. So, yeah.
Can I say something real quick? I think I have personally, I'm saying this to ask if you ladies have experienced anything similar yet, is I have struggled on and off with being a teacher of the law of attraction and having a business that teaches people the law of attraction and being told what to do and how to come off and what's right and what's wrong. And I tend to go, in general in my life, when everyone's crazed about one thing, like this is the thing to do, I usually am not attracted to that and I just want to go along and do things my own way, or I'm just interested in something else at that time. And so, and yes, when, like you were saying, when you're seeing maybe someone else teaching the law and it's not in the same way that you feel about it, and that the whole point of for me, the whole point of any technique anyone wants to learn is to reach that feeling of satisfaction. So yeah, do you ladies experience this, that when you're either watching someone else teach maybe, or just you're in the middle of a business that teaches natural law, like how do you navigate through that and feel like you're doing your own thing and being authentic, you know, and how much of it do you I don't even know how to word this. Like, do you guys know what I'm getting at?
I think
like,
I know exactly what you mean, because
some of it feels icky, and I don't want to be super popular, but at the same time, you know, we need to reach people to teach them this.
No, but I think that's kind of a challenge for a lot of people that are relatively new on social media or have like a small audience. And I remember that I mean, I'm not even that long on YouTube, but I remember when I started putting my business out there, because in the beginning it was more word of mouth. I was like, and everyone's like, well, you got to be online, you got to be online. So, you know, I started doing that. Oh, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this. And then for a second I was like, oh yeah, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. And then I was like, but it just didn't feel right. You know, it just, to me, you know, there's part of me that enjoys social media because I get to stay in contact with friends I have around the world and family, and connect with amazing people. Because the truth is, I connect with amazing people. It brings me clients. So there's a part of it that's very good and juicy to me. But to be there all the time, oh, you got to show up, you know, from Monday to Friday. You got to post all these videos. You got to be on Instagram. You got to be on Facebook. You got to be on LinkedIn. I was like, at some point, I was like, I just threw my phone, like,
no way. I only do things when I want to, and I only do things when I want to, because I don't want to fall into that trap of feeling like I have to always. It's just, and I think Agnes is maybe a good example of this, because I remember, you know, I don't watch a whole lot of other law of attraction videos on YouTube. Maybe a few times a month I'll watch some of your videos, of different teachers. But I remember Agnes's like first few videos I had watched, and it was probably way after she had posted them. But the first few videos and the way you've grown, like I really appreciate it, and I see that you're authentic, and I see that you have reached a lot of people without doing things that seem like, hey guys, look at me,
being busy, look at
that's
me
something I'll never do.
Successful, yeah.
I noticed too, like in my own journey with this is like just trying to find my voice and my authentic self. And I went through kind of the same transition, and I was really focused when I first decided to go from therapy to coaching online. And I was creating products, and I was efforting and forcing so much stuff. And I hated them, and they weren't selling good. And it wasn't really what I was supposed to do. And then I just got quiet with myself and was like, I have to stop all this and get back to who I am and what's coming out of me that I feel like I need to share. And literally just doing that, I manifested this therapist turned life coach. She's like a conscious life coach into my life. And her business model just really resonated with me about I was stuck behind my laptop 7 days a week, like working on all this stuff. And I don't like that. Like I want to be in front of my clients serving. And so anyways, I switched my business model in like the last 3 weeks. And just by doing that, and I was like, you know what, I want to be in inspired action and sharing the message locally with who needs to hear it. I had people reaching out to me, the coaching group, like the idea came to me. I didn't even come up with the idea of this coaching group. Somebody texted me and said, can you start this? Because I have 5 people that'll join right away because we want you to do it. And I'm like, done. And all these things started coming in because now I'm just laying back and really like tapping into who I am and not forcing it.
Yeah.
I used to do my YouTube all the time. And now I'm like, maybe 2-3 times a week when I feel like you said, to be inspired with it. Right. Cause then it gets to this, effort and this daunting, and I don't know, it's not a pleasant feeling,
No,
but it is
not
hard.
at all.
No.
It's
It's
not
hard.
at all.
But it's like a natural transition. I think like anything new you do is like you model after people. You don't really, you're kind of stepping into the unknown and like really trying to discover who you are and dig your roots into that. And then you share that, right? I mean, I know when I became a therapist, it was the same way. Like, I didn't know what the hell to say, and then as I got more comfortable in my clinical skills, you couldn't shut me up helping people, but when I started, I'm like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like I definitely always make the choice that feels more authentic to me.
Oh my gosh. Are we still here?
Okay, are we here? Good.
Oh,
Oh, she froze.
Yeah.
she froze. Okay. Yes. So, but I think, okay, let's continue. Let's hope she's back soon. Yeah. Okay.
Well, at least it froze on a good angle with her. Because
Yes, I know. Sometimes it's like, what?
you're like, I know, like that would happen to me. I would have like the weirdest angle or something I'm making.
But I think it's very interesting. And I realized at some point I was like, oh my God, I'm doing exactly the opposite of what I'm teaching I should do. And once I realized that, it was like, okay, I can let this go, I'm going to ditch what drains me, and I'm going to continue doing the things that feel good. And that feels so much better. Feels so much better. You talked about it last time as well, Kim, about, you gotta do this, you gotta do that, about like people telling you, right? About, you gotta be a copywriter, you gotta have an amazing website, you gotta have this, you gotta have that. And it's like, before you know it, you're on that train, and it's like, wait a minute, I don't want this.
Yeah. And you get lost because I'm like, and it was so funny because, talking about just intentional manifestors, last week with my special person in my life, he was sharing, he's like a mover and a shaker. Not really, but he's busy all the time doing stuff, and he really like loves his life. Like he's just energetic about what he does. And I really value that in him. And anyways, he was sharing with me an opportunity that came up for him, and it was a really cool experience. And in my mind, I'm like, you know what? Like, I need to create more of this for myself, not what he was doing, but how I show up in my life where I'm doing what I love more and more. And that's working face to face with my clients. And that really was like, you know, the starting point of, I need to get in front. I have to get this action, because this is what I love doing this, you know? And so I think it is, you just have to tap in your authentic self.
Right. Yes. I love that. You're back. And it was like you came in and your hair was blowing in the wind. It looked gorgeous. Beautiful entrance.
You know why? No, because my phone had my phone had overheated because of this California sunshine, and I'm in the car, and my phone overheated, and I had to turn the AC on, and I'm cooling my phone off. So yeah, I'm sorry. What I miss, guys?
That is so funny.
This is reality TV.
It's very much reality TV, and I love it. Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, it's so nice also just to, you know, to talk with other coaches about this, and practice what we preach. I think that's what it comes down to, like, you know, really being authentic to ourselves. And also I think, you know, for us, like, that are a little bit newer to the scene, is like really finding your voice as a coach, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that, like, I've been doing this for a while, so I kind of feel like, why am I still feeling? But that's so true, because, like, whenever I have moments like that, what I typically do when I don't have you lovely ladies to talk to about it, what I do is I just ask myself, like, okay, if someone asked me this and asked for advice about this in their you know, situation, what would I say? And that usually helps me the most, because then I'm, like, able to actually see it from, like, an, you know, outside unbiased perspective. And it's just that, like, I love working with people and stuff, but every once in a while I'm thinking, okay, like, I you know, maybe it's like a psychological thing, like that's like maybe something Kim would have seen probably a lot, just like how, like, to be okay with success and not feeling icky about it, because, you know, like, I mean, I don't know if you guys get those comments of, oh, you guys shouldn't be charging for this stuff or whatever. So yeah.
Right, you mentioned that before. Have you ever dealt with that, Agnes or Kim?
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you, Agnes? Yeah, I'd like to hear.
Not for a while, but yes, in the beginning, you know, I did probably 2 years worth of free emails while my business was growing, and it started off as 10 minutes a day, and it turned into 4 hours a day. And that's when I gave it up, doing any kind of free. I don't reply to any emails for free. Unless it's just because my website's under construction, I'm doing everything manually at the moment. It's literally, you know, 50 emails a day. So it's now something that was just a quick little thing has turned into a huge chunk of my time. So it had to be cut off. It in the beginning, people did say, you know, you should still be doing this for free, because I had done it for free for a long time. But I think that's the transition of self-worth. I am going to charge for my time. I've spent 30 years learning this, and then, you know, doing my course, and then all of that. But I want to say one thing about the coaching business today, as I see my own business. I used to see it that I was actually coaching people and helping people and working with them. Mm-hmm. Today, and this is shifted in the last probably 4 years, that coaching that I do, I'm not coaching and helping other people. They are me pushed out.
Yes, exactly. Yes, I agree.
This is like working with the whole Pono. I'm dissolving the parts of me that still feel unloved, because I'm working with people that have self-love issues. Exactly. I'm working and dissolving the part of me that has issues with a specific person, because I'm getting a lot of SP coaching. So they are my reflection. My clients are helping me to dissolve these parts of me. They're not actually being coached per se, and I'm in a position of being an expert. I'm an eternal student of the teachings that have been here for hundreds of years. I'm trying to work on my personal stuff, and my clients help me do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Business is now. That's what it is. And it's completely changed my vantage point. Completely changed my vantage point.
It's I think it's more useful to the clients that way too, when you take that, when you realize that's what it is. I realize when I see it that way, in those moments where I'm really noticing that that's what's happening, I'm the person we're working with just does so much quicker, advances so much quicker in the things that they're trying to achieve. So yeah, thank you for mentioning that.
Well,
it's a good reminder.
I remember too, with years of being a therapist, that we would joke, and this was before I knew like everyone is you pushed out and any of that stuff, that I was really aware of it, where we would get cycles of certain kinds, we call them populations as a therapist, of certain clients, like with personality issues. And it was like the running joke, like when we worked in a treatment center or whatever, like this therapist would always get this kind, and this one would get, the conglomerate of this kind or whatever. But when I started learning about everyone as you pushed out, I'm like, oh my gosh, that makes sense why I had these certain kind of clients.
That's you're aligned with. Yeah, that time. Yep.
Mine was narcissistic men, because of my own issues that I need to resolve and work on, and I loved working with them because I had to, anyways. Yeah, it's so interesting, because I agree 1,000%.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, but it makes
that's
sense,
awesome that you noticed it.
Can I just chime in about the money thing? Because this is something near and dear to my heart in a way, because I came, when I first became a therapist, I was very fortunate to work at a treatment center that was cash only. So I was taught very, very early on in my career the value of money and how people will exploit if you allow them. And we would have to confront as therapists with people that didn't pay the bill. So it was like an interesting learning experience.
Wow. Never thought of that. Wow.
When I went into private practice, I still only would take cash. I never dealt with insurance companies, and my practice is thriving. It's always been thriving since day one. And so I think it's too kind of understanding that, or us reminding ourselves that there's abundance everywhere. There's money out there, that there is people, there's so many coaches and therapists and different people in the, professional healing, helping field, whatever you want to call it, that they're going to, serve their clients with their price base. So if we're helping someone at a higher price base, it doesn't mean that they're not going to be able to get the help if they can't afford us, because there's 1,000 other people, and that's the way I kind of went with it, is that, and I didn't lower my prices. I did do a spot in my, day-to-day or my weekly calendar where I factored in a price for someone who had more of a hardship, that I would allow 2 slots a week for someone at a reduced price. But other than that, it's just the price, and there were no negotiations, and I've never really had an issue. And people that call and are like, oh, your fee, and I tell them I can't afford that, I'm like, I completely understand. I wish you the best,
Yeah, but I think it's, once you have that clarity for yourself, as in, you have these slots for people, you choose to help because, they're on a different journey with their money. I think this is good. I know you do something similar as well. And yes, I know you have your free meetings. I'm doing one a month, which is a group thing. Everybody can come. It's for free. And for me, that creates that clarity. Everybody's welcome. You can come. We don't leave until everybody asks their questions. We stay, we hang out, but that's it, and I think it's good for yourself and also for people you work with. It's boundaries, right? And for yourself, just clarity, to have this clarity. What about you, Armine? How do you deal with it?
Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off with my sarcasm there. But how do I? No, you know what? You guys are, of course, all on point. And before, earlier in my, when I first started reaching out online to help people, it was then. Can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great. So yeah, like, of course, it was in the beginning that there were more, like, not even directly to me, but like in forums and stuff like that, like people would say, oh, you know, a law of attraction coaches shouldn't charge because everyone should know this information, yada, yada, yada. And of course, that was a reflection of a fear I had inside myself of, hey, I'm going into this thing, you know, am I going to be able to make a living doing this? And then, and to not only make a living, but to do, you know, well and live a comfortable life, you know, and provide one for my family. So yeah, as I had less of those fears, I stopped hearing the people saying people shouldn't be charging for this. Yeah. Of course, right? Because everything is us pushed out. So yeah, and it's just like what I did about less than a year ago, I'd say like maybe around 6 months ago, I doubled my rate, my hourly rate, my session rate, because I was like, you know what? I'm a mom, and that's kind of like my main focus. 24 hours a day, when I'm not sleeping or like actively being a mom in that moment, I'm all about law of attraction. I'm researching, I'm, you know, talking to people, like it's all law of attraction. But I mean, like, as for my hours, many of my hours go to being a mom. So the hours that I have available for actually coaching are, you know, Monday to Thursday, a few hours each day, just a couple hours each day. So I had to increase my rates, and because I knew my value, of course, and also, you know, if someone wants to work with me and they think that I'm worth that rate, then I want to work with them, you know. Yeah. So yeah, it's like, it's just that, like, it's been a slow evolution of my own understanding of, like, you know, what the law of attraction, you know, is as a business. That's all. And I guess it might be interesting for people watching this, because we started talking about law of attraction techniques, but, you know, there's the other side of coaching and being a teacher, which might be interesting to people, but maybe for a little bit.
No, I think it's very interesting. I love it. And I think it's also important for people to see that and to understand that. And I think, you know, we shouldn't shy away from talking about money just because we're spiritual teachers, because I think, like, for a lot of people, it's still like, ooh, money. And it's like,
money is money. That's awesome.
I don't think it has to be that way at all. So I love the openness. And I love that you guys share so much about this. So,
and I think teaching people to set the bar higher for themselves as a client, because, you know, all of us have invested into our self-care and our mental well-being, and that's what we're trying to help provide too, the results of the benefits internally, what people will have if they, you know, do their self-work. And usually, like, I also find too, like everyone puts out, that I'll get clients that will only go to a certain point, which is always the monetary point that I've spent on myself.
Yes.
Something, right? Like, and so I'm like, okay, I need to spend more money, so I start getting, you know what I mean, like, this back. But it's really interesting. But yes, I mean, listen, it's energy, it's helping. We're sharing. I look at it as just sharing. Like, I'm just sharing my experience, and when I know to see people stop suffering and living a better quality of life. You take it or leave it, like, you know, to each their own.
And that's so awesome that like you said, when you notice that people reach a certain threshold of, like, okay, this is what their budget is, or this is what they that's reflective of yours. And isn't it so awesome that everything we experience in life is just immediate feedback of what we're doing vibrationally, like, on certain subjects. I think that's just amazing. Such a beautiful design this universe has. Like, awesome.
Love that. So ladies, I'm so sorry, and also viewers, but I'm gonna have to wrap up because I'm also a mom and my kids are coming home soon. So I want to thank the three of you for coming and making time. I really, really enjoyed this. There was one thing I wanted to say, about money and charging clients for coaches, new coaches that are struggling out there. Is like, what I noticed when I first started coaching, I coached for free because, you know, I had to get in my hours because I had to practice and all that stuff. But I have to be honest, like, one-on-one coaching for free versus coaching for money, your clients show up differently as well.
100%.
Really, I mean, that is my experience. Looking back, I'm like, wow, that was a big difference. Coming late, canceling, last minute, rescheduling over and over again. Results. Not showing up, like, physically, but also, like, not really being coachable, as opposed to a person that pay some money. It's like, I'm going to be there because I want to, I want to do this. I want to learn this. I want to improve this area of my life. So I think that is something to have in mind as well. I think for me, I mean, it's something that I've noticed. I'm not sure if you ladies had, but that was my experience. So I just wanted to add that before we wrap things up. So Agnes, thank you so much for coming. Kim, Armine, thank you. I think this was really, really nice to come together and share our feelings and our experiences and our ideas. So let's say goodbye to everybody, and I'm stopping the recording. We're going to say goodbye in private, if that's okay.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye-bye.